In the last few episodes, I referenced the differences of the grammar in Turkish, English, and French. These are three languages I can speak or write or read, and especially in Turkish and French, grammars are weird in terms of comparison. French grammar tends to be more self-contained in terms of speaking from the, like, let's say, the view of the first person singular or the plural. It always looks in the written language looks as if you're doing it to yourself. When you write or read in the French language, and the grammar looks so. That's where I have had the most difficulty translating from French into English, and never did from French into Turkish. In Turkish, it's not the grammar, but the language structure, both spoken and the written, let's say, levels, sounds as if you're doing it to someone else. Well, in French, it could be the loci of speech, or the object of the speech, written language and spoken language that might differ in French and Turkish as well. But more or less, this might be one of the cultural differences. But also there's been some cultural translations of these, doing it to someone else as well, especially in Turkish. The French grammar sometimes, there's a lot of French terms in Turkish that has been absorbed by the Turkish language. French words and French philosophy has been absorbed into Turkish language and culture a lot, more than the British. French is still very embedded and encoded in the Turkish language and culture. What the grammar, when you use that French cultural or characteristic traits in the Turkish language, that always one of the difficulties and the trials of using Turkish language, when the French cultural traits are at stake to use. Doing it to yourself, but in Turkish. Doing it French and Turkish. Well, that's sometimes really difficult. In English as well, sometimes the French grammarly trait of doing it to yourself, even if not on the grammar level, but in the idiomatic level, might just be heard in such sayings as "watch your mouth." It's as if you have to look at a mirror or something and watch the words that you're just saying, or something like that. Well, in Turkish, I don't know its French translation or its French equivalent, but in Turkish, the equivalent of "watch your mouth," the translation of that into Turkish would be "diline hakim ol." The word, more translation, would be a sovereign of your tongue, or if not language. It's not watching your mouth. Unlike the English, it's as if more or less do it to yourself. Here, you have to have a mastery over the sovereignty over whatever you're saying and your tongue, not language, but tongue or something. Well, in English, it's the mouth, and you have to watch your mouth, the reflection of your mouth somewhere, or your face. And Turkish, you do not need to see the visage of your mouth or whatever, but you have to be a sovereign, or you have to have a sovereignty on your tongue, or whatever, language or whatever. So these are two. They do not completely overlap, but make sense in terms of like cultural translation and the differences between languages. Here, my English example is not Grammarly. The Grammarly example is the French written language, if not a spoken language. I don't know if the French has anything like watching or being a sovereign of the language or of the tongue. But yeah, I mean, the ways how these words and the imageries are encoded in the psyche of whoever speaks these languages. Well, to me, I don't remember ever using in Turkish using that term hakim, dinine hakim olmak. I don't remember, not in my writings or not in whenever I talked or whatever. Well, but I might have used the term "watch your mouth" in English. Uh, not maybe a few times, not a lot, just maybe a few times, not in Turkish. But still, they're interesting in terms of the different modes. This is the uses of language is not constrained with religion or whatever. This is the ways of making sense of reality or whatever you're saying. So and the messages might be sent to different means if you do not get what that means, if you do not understand what the term "what your mouth" means, then there has to be different modes of communication or conversation, something like that. So "watch your mouth" or be a sovereign of your tongue or language or something like that.
There's a news that I really do not want to miss. FBI agents seized Mayor Eric Adams' electronic devices earlier this week in what appeared to be a dramatic escalation of a federal corruption investigation into whether his 2021 campaign conspired with the Turkish government and others to funnel money into his coffers. Two people with knowledge of the matter said. Why do I not want to miss this? Because of the science of semiotics is the following. The Turkish government is run by uh, the AKP, whose party logo is a light bulb. Really, just I mean that might be one of the worst ideas in the world. Ironically, the light bulb symbolizes the idea. And choose some semiotic letter rearrangement. Light bulb means Eureka. So, if this is not a conspiracy theory, the conspiracy would be to say that Eric Adams, because of his name, has been funneled money or whatever. That would be the conspiracy. But a semiotic is Eric Adams is not so ironically has been funneled some money, conspired with the Turkish government that is run by the party whose logo is, through the semiotic analysis, ends up with the mayor's name, Erika Dems, or whatever, Erika Dems. So that's why I wouldn't really. I, I, I didn't want to miss this. And well, even before that, well, I can say that this is all stage to just for these news. Maybe Eric Adams might have even been conspired and staged in this, but in one way or another. Well, yeah, I mean the meaning of the Erika. And well, I don't want to go into details. If there's any listener who's familiar with the Turkish letters and words that might go around that image symbol of the light bulb, And Erika, it's like the idea, the party, one of the founding fathers of the this party that has been ruling Turkey for a few decades now. One of the founding fathers has been in the United States, like religious guru or whatever, the Gulans, and which is now has been officially recognized as a terrorist organization. And Fethullah Gulen is one of the and has followers. I don't know if that's like a community or something like that. They've been around for decades, much longer than AKP in Turkey. They've been not so active in politics, but they've been uh, powerful and influential in Turkey. So whatever he was there in the United States. He's still there, I think, in the United States, as if the husband of AKP, whose name through semiotic is Erika. So it's like the AKP is the wife, the party that rules Turkey, and the husband was the Gulenist or community, and this marriage didn't end up well uh, with a coup attempt in Turkey in 2016, summer of 2016. So they had a quarrel, and they just broke up first, and after a few years, there was a divorce. That was the moment when this religious community, well, I mean, they gave fatwas or whatever against the government and whatever. They got divorced. The Gulenists and the AKP government, they got divorced. They were married, and the Gulenists were husbands, and AKP was wives. I mean, the story is like this. This structure of the story is so common. You could see that and find this structure anywhere in the world. Husband and wife. It's like an Anglo-Saxon marriage and the Anglo-Saxon law. And then they just first break up and then got divorced. And this sort of the unhappy marriage in the Anglo-Saxon law could be found anywhere in the world because of not because of the British colonialism, but because of the very nature of marriage. You know, if a couple gets married and is unhappy after a while, they might just break up and try to just like find a way to just make things better. And if it doesn't work out well, then they got divorced. And if this divorce is worse than imagined, one of the parties might be accused of being a terrorist or being the whatever. So I mean, this structure is pretty common and all around the world. Doesn't have to be called Anglo-Saxon, but yeah, I mean, there's also the Anglo-Saxon. That's like the my reference would be the feminist reference from Heidi Hartman. Wrote a wonderful article on the unhappy marriage of Marxism and feminism, and that article, that's my reference indeed in terms of the terms, because I have no idea about the ways how the marriage is encoded in the Anglo-Saxon law, but she just makes this resemble in the article, says that the orthodox Marxism looks and the feminist movement, and that's like the first wave feminism, looks like a marriage in the Anglo-Saxon law. That's what she says in the article, Heidi Hartman, Unhappy Marriage of Marxism and Feminism. That's like the article, you just like change the words Marxism with AKP, feminism, Marxism with Gulens and feminism with AKP, and then you'll have just open the article. I think that should be available online. Just Google it, Heidi Hartman, Unhappy Marriage of Marxism and Feminism,